Hey, this is Linz, and you are watching Support the Scene. My name is Linz, and this is Support the Scene. Today we have Def 3. Hello. Super excited to have you here. Someone who's been in the music industry quite a long time.
Very long time.
You are so very musically talented and you've been able to travel so many different places over the years. I'm excited to have you here and tell us more about yourself.
Yeah. I guess a long story, but yeah, I've been a professional touring rapper for almost, I guess if you count COVID, 18 years. But I've been making hip hop. I was actually thinking about that on the drive over here, I think, since 1996.
Oh, wow.
So, but it was more of a joke. That's just like battling and stuff like that. But yeah, I think my first professional release was 2003. So yeah, the time has flown by. And yeah, since then, it's been great. I've been, as you said, I've been involved with a few different elements of hip hop. I was a DJ as well as a graffiti artist. Never was breakdancer though, and never really beatboxed. So, but yeah, it's been mostly rapping, and I've been fortunate enough, I guess, consider myself pretty lucky to have this long of a career. And yeah, and then through this past 2 years has been pretty trying, but I've been able to get the odd show in, mostly just this year. And mostly just in the US, but yeah, I can't wait till I'm able to get back to work.
Well, someone who's been a world traveler, do you have any places that you really favor, that you have great memories of? As
far as shows, or just the people in general?
Both. Do you like a memorable show that you did in another country?
I really miss touring Europe, to be honest. I think Europe is... I love the US as well. I just recently actually played one of my favorite shows of my life in Denver, in November.
Awesome.
And over the past 5 or 6 years since I started working with a producer there named Late Night Radio, who has a really big following there, it's become kind of my biggest market as well. But yeah, overall, I think I was just talking the other day with a friend about, the difference between Europe and North America, and just how, especially with hip hop, there's this kind of crazy time capsule of just what they still love over there. And I really miss touring in Germany and France. I've had some incredible shows there over the years. The last time I was there, I was doing a tour with Master Ace, and the shows were just everyone was so amazing, and it just I don't know, the people. I came to the conclusion that the people there, I think the difference is that music and art has been kind of respected and put on a pedestal for such a long time in Europe, versus North America, where it's relatively new over the course. And so yeah, I just found the energy over there is so amazing, and I love the history of traveling around there. Not to say that Canada and America isn't great, but yeah, I think there, and then also Australia. I was fortunate enough to go to Australia 3 times in the past 5 years, and I love it there. Just the beaches and the people are so awesome. So I would say that as far as one single show, probably there, or maybe playing Red Rocks. Are you familiar with Red Rocks?
No.
Yeah. I'd say probably top 5 venues in the world.
Okay.
It's a 10,000 person amphitheater that's out just outside of Denver in a place called Morrison, I think. And it's incredible. Everyone you can imagine has played there, from the Beatles to the Doors, Jimmy Hare to Drake, whoever you want to think of.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
It's for some of the venues that are that big, it must feel quite the nerves for performing for such large crowds like that. But by now you must be also used to it.
Yeah, you know what? For me, it's I really only get nervous when I have new material that I'm performing, and it's more for the sake of or if I have songs that people know really well and I screw them up. I'm generally I'm not the greatest freestyler, but I can kind of cover my tracks. But yeah, I think it's good to get nervous. I still no matter what. Yeah, I still, and once I get going, it's like, I think as I've gotten older though, it's gotten a bit, I don't know if it has to do with me getting older or the fact that I'm not playing as many shows as I used to, but I used to be so autopilot that like, you know, because there was a point where for, I don't know, 8 or 9 years where I was doing like 150 shows a year probably.
Oh, wow.
So it was so like, and to be honest, I wasn't making that much new music, so it was like
very consistent of like the repetitive stuff, remembering your lyrics and every song. Like it was just like you knew it from back to front. For sure.
And now I think playing. It's funny, with bigger shows, it's like sometimes they're not as good as the smaller shows. Yeah. I find like, and it all depends on like the setting as well, like
the intimacy when you've got like that small, really hype crowd and they know every word. Where you've got like a whole bunch of strangers that are all just cheering, but they don't know your music.
That's exactly it. It's like, or you know, if you're the opening act for somebody who they're like die hard to see, it can be difficult, especially if you're going on first. And you know, the idea, it's like, yeah, I'm playing this huge show there's whatever 5,000 people, but then it's like no one's there to really see you. Mm-hmm. So it's like different. Or you play a show where like there's 300 people there to see you. Yeah, the energy can be a lot better almost. But yeah, either way, it's awesome. But I think I think some of my favorite shows are the more intimate ones where like I feel like I connected with every single person in the crowd. So. Yeah.
And music festivals, the vibe is always so different compared to like being in a club. What do you prefer more, the small vibe or like festival vibe?
As of lately, festivals. Like I've kind of made I've been in music in many different lanes over the past 20 years. Mm-hmm. When the first 10 years of my career was strictly hip hop. So you know, there wasn't, as time went by, like it became harder and harder to get booked for hip hop at festivals just because there wasn't many places that were doing it unless you were like a newer sounding artist. And so I kind of moved into the past, you know, I'd say 10 years more into electronic festivals, which is a totally different vibe. Yes. And it's like, but I found that my transition into that was very organic, and it kind of gave me this, felt almost like a resurrection in like my inspiration as well as just what was out there. And like, so yeah, like I prefer to play those kind of festivals. And I feel like, not to say that I don't like playing a hip hop festival, but they just don't, they don't really exist in North America much anymore. And so I just love the energy of like, you know, these 2-3 day camping festivals where it's like old friends, and it's like, you know, DJs, all types of music. But yeah,
togetherness really just gives you the more enjoyable
for sure
moments, and it's more than just like, you know, an evening. You've got like extended days to be with everybody and enjoy it.
Yeah, and I still love clubs and stuff, but I think as I've gotten older, I like, you know, nightclubs are not what they used to be to me. Yeah. And I still enjoy them, but yeah, it's like I think I love the idea of festivals, meeting all these new people, being in front of all these different, you know, people who wouldn't usually see you. They might just be there to see someone else, but
yeah. In transition with you know, not just yourself. There are plenty of hip hop artists where they've gone from, you know, hip hop to like integrating their hip hop into the EDM scene. Mm-hmm. Example, Pigeonhole, right, from Sweatshop. So, for sure. You know, it's really awesome to see artists evolve.
I think that's important, and I was there, you know, for every step of the way with Pigeonhole doing that, because I played with Sweatshop Union for a long time.
Love that.
And I remember when we started messing around, and I mean, it all stemmed from Shambhala, really. Like, we were playing Shambhala, and then, you know, you're hearing all these production, we're like, that's pretty cool. And then we almost started making it as a joke. And then it turned into like a more serious thing, and they just kind of decided to go full force with it. But, you know, I always think of like the first guy that I saw doing it was Emotions, really. Emotions, a stylist. And I remember when I first came out here in 2010, they had just put out this like, and it was probably their first song doing it. I think it was called Wild Style. was like a dubstep song that Stylus made. And I remember being like, this is so dope, you know? Like I remember going back to Regina at the time and being like, I want to do something like this. And then, you know, over the years that sound developed. But there was the only other groups that I really saw that were, you know, doing it in that lane and really embracing it was Foreign Beggars, who I've recently connected with and done some shows with. And then unfortunately one of the members passed away a couple years ago. But, you know, I remember first seeing them and being like, whoa, this is different. And so like my new project that I'm working on right now is pretty much a full electronic record. But it'll be fun. The first song I did was with Pigeonhole actually last month.
Oh, fantastic.
So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm working with Il Gates, a producer. He's working a lot, and then just kind of like everyone I've met collectively in the scene. And yeah, it'll be fun. To me, like that is exciting to me because, and not to say, you know, like I'm always gonna make hip hop. I'm still have tons of hip hop stuff, but I think I'm really excited to see the evolution of you know, rappers embracing not just like EDM, like trappy stuff. It's like, you know, I always use the comparison, you know, hearing some groups and lyricists kind of like on an atmosphere vibe that meet with this, and like you're seeing this experimental bass music, and I think it's like a whole new beginning in a way, and it's like, yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes and to kind of be working in that realm. And yeah, so but I think as far as like you know, it's interesting because like what we all started out, the hip hop that we all initially made, the spotlight isn't really there anymore, so it's really hard to survive making that. And that was part of why, aside from just my love for the music, why I was transitioning, because it felt like, you know, you do this type of music, but who's really caring about it anymore? And the people who maybe like it don't really come to shows. So
just changing it up, and you know, that's part of growing and evolving, and knowing your sound is to figure out different lanes that, you know, you fit into.
For sure.
Do you have anything that you have going on that is coming up?
I released the new album called Weddings and Funerals in June. I got a couple more videos that are coming out for that, and then basically, yeah, I'm kind of on like a single a month thing I'm doing, so I'm gonna have a new record this year, hopefully 2 actually, and then pretty much like a single every month starting at the end of this month, and then yeah, pretty much just waiting for live music to return. Like I have one festival I'm playing next month in Florida, which I don't know, I'm scared to go or not. But to be honest, all I've done is I played maybe 12 or 13 shows this year, and they've all been in the US. And at first it seemed insane, but now I feel like it's almost like safer there. I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, the rules that they allowed and not allowed, it's pretty crazy up here. So, and I'm glad that you're able to go down there and still do you. Right?
Yeah,
that's the thing. And you have such a huge fan base. You know, over the years you've created such a large community of people who follow you.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Very blessed for sure.
Are there any artists that you haven't worked with that you would like to?
As far as rappers or producers? Or?
In general, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think a bucket list for me is just to actually, probably funny you said Atmosphere. I would love to do a song with Slug, as far as rappers, and then as far as producers, there's a long list of people. I think, you know, more so in the, yeah, that could be a very long list. But I think in general, like, I'm lucky to be working with a lot of the people that I really do like, and most of my friends are
super talented.
And so, you know, like, I'm never at a lack of talent around me and inspiration. But yeah, I think as far as rappers, that's probably the one. And not that I haven't tried. I've talked to them about it, and there's a few other people. You know, I guess like when you go back to a lot of the 90s golden era rappers that I grew up listening to, I think those bucket lists will always be there. But I was fortunate enough to work with like Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Master Ace.
Yeah.
Who else? I don't know if you're familiar with Mystic. She was like one of my favorite rappers. I got to do a song with her. But yeah, any of the old like, you know, Wu-Tang and all those guys. I think it's a dream. But yeah, overall, like, I think I kind of just stick to what's around me for the most part. But the Atmosphere season.
You know, he's been around a long time too, and I actually still have one of his shirts from his album, When Life Gives You Lemons.
Oh, nice.
Paint that shit cold.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it'd be dope. I think he's really like managed to have a career, like a very good career, you know, and over the course of, I don't even know how long he's been doing it, 25 years plus.
Yeah, quite a long
I was listening to him when I was in college. So.
I know that, like you were saying, keeping busy with shows. As you've gone on over the years, has there ever been where you just felt not as inspired, but you found your way through it? Well,
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had a few moments like that. Like, I think when I entered my 30s, like I turned 40 this year actually, and that's insane to me. But when I entered my 30s, I think I got pretty down and out, and you know, that was masked by a whole other amount of problems. And I think it was like, because I had already been doing it, you have these ideas of where you're gonna be at that age, and you know, that was when social media was just kind of really becoming big, so you're comparing yourself to all these things, and it was like, and it really threw me off for a bit there. And I think I was also very disconnected from the initial community that I was a part of.
Yeah.
And so when I first started making music, it was really, the foundation of it was the crew and the people that I was with. And then, you know, as time progressed, people quit, you have falling outs with people, and it's usually over dumb stuff like little bits of money or girls, whatever, like and you know, that it got to a point where I think I had pretty much just shut everyone out, and I think it really reflected in I was having a problem creating music, and I was touring pretty much by myself, or maybe me and a DJ, and yeah, I went into this point where I had like a lot of writer's block, and it was like, and so that, you know, after I literally kind of went on this tour / journey to find myself all over, you know, I went to Europe, I went to the US, and I just kind of like hit up people, and, you know, I was just trying to connect with different pockets of people, and, you know, get myself back in a community. And then as of lately in Vancouver, I've kind of, you know, had that here and there, but and then I think that I got myself out of it by, you know, immersing myself back in that culture and really falling in love with the culture itself, but also myself, I think. Mm-hmm. And then another time that it happened would be like, I would say shortly before I had my daughter. I think I was getting to this point, like I was in my mid to late 30s, you start questioning what you're doing with your life. Yeah. And, you know, you're still making hip hop, you're still doing, not that it was falling on deaf ears or anything, but you start to look like, what am I going to do with this? And like, I think I had a bit of an identity crisis as far as like, what do I even want to talk about anymore? What do I want to rap about? So you sit down and you go to create something. And there was a while there, but I think a lot of it was tied to a lot of mental health stuff, and, you know, you being so removed from the community itself. And so I think once I knew that my daughter was coming, it really made me reflect a lot and be like, I need to figure out exactly what I'm doing. I need to like have a game plan again, and I need to have goals that I'm setting, and like, you know, understand that I need to fix a lot of the aspects of my own mind and my own like, and yeah, ever since then it's been actually like, I feel like I'm a completely different person now than even 2 years ago. And she's only 2.5 now, but I think those were the two probably biggest hurdles for me to overcome, but I was lucky enough to make it through them.
Parenting really evolves you, being someone that's taking care of another human being, and your perspective of like where you're not just this growing adult, now you're kind of a big kid yourself all over again, right?
Totally.
So
yeah, I think the beauty I think the most beautiful thing about it reminds you of like all the things that you forgot were beautiful, you know. And that's like, I think what this past 2 or 3 years has been for me. It's like, you know, my daughter will be so amazed by something, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that. That's pretty cool. You know, like when you think about it, I guess as adults, we sort of become jaded with these ideas, or like
the simplicity is gone, the magic and the sparkle.
Yeah.
And then when their eyes light up, you're like, oh, I see what you see, because I felt that when I was that little.
Yeah, and I think it's like, you know, I always say like, I had a lot of support when I had my daughter, as far as friends, luckily, that, you know, had gone through it and like had reached out to me. And so I've been really trying to make an effort myself to do that when I see, you know, even if I don't know an artist that well, or another person that I sort of an acquaintance and they just had a kid, I remember how hard it was. One, like your time basically you get half the amount of time to do whatever. 100% of the thing. And so it's like, that's really difficult, especially for most self-employed people who are like, and so I try to like reach out and just check in on people and see how they're doing, and then like also, you know, offer tips that help me or whatever, because I do feel like it chisels you into like this superhuman version of yourself that you weren't before. Yeah. And I always was trying to say, like, you know, if you could write a book and basically become that person without having the kid, you would, I don't know, but it's hard to, like, you I think it just forces you realize that, again, it's not about you anymore, and you like you really need to learn to manage your time efficiency. And so essentially now, like, I've gotten more done in the past 2 years than I did in 10 years because I have to. Yeah. And I just didn't have to before. It was very easy for me, like, you know what, maybe I'll just go do nothing over here and go hang out at the beach or go for a bike ride. Now it's like, well, I have an hour to do this, and if I don't do it, it's not getting done. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing, and yeah. But aside from that, just the beauty of watching a human being grow from a little ball is incredible. Yeah. It's so cool. I wish I could just keep having kids, but I'm just having one, I think. Yeah.
Well, with all your amazing music, what would you like to pass down to her?
You know what? I've thought about that a lot, and one of the things I wanted to pass down, I guess I've got to. I made a song about her called Ronnie, and that's her name. And aside from the concept of like, my wife lost her dad in just before pandemic hit. Yeah. And I saw how hurt she was, and I think what it made me realize was that a lot of, you know, children, whether they're adults or not, there's not that much. You eventually run out of videos to watch. You eventually, if you're lucky that you have videos, you have these things, you eventually run out of, and you know, some people never get to hear their parents truly show how much they love them, or they don't feel that the way. And so, you know, I part of me making that song and that video, she was in the video, and it was just like she could have this thing that she could watch no matter what when she's older. And I'll probably make a bunch more of those. But I think just like the, you know, being able to teach her how to, you know, I guess operate on her own independently, and that, you know, I'm happy to support her whatever she wants to do. But I think just like showing her this alternative world and this alternative lifestyle is like what I can give her. My wife has a totally different career and a totally different outlook on life than me. But I think, you know, just sharing my love for music, art, I think it's already in her because she loves it already. Yeah. But yeah, just being able to show her the world and show her how beautiful and amazing life is, and to not, you know, not waste time and obviously enjoy it to the fullest. But I think yeah, that's what I'd like to, hopefully she can figure out a way to do that herself.
Absolutely. Well, she's got a very creative dad, so I'm sure she's not ever going to be bored. Yeah. Well, anything last you'd like to say to everyone? Anything that, you know, keep them going through all these hard times?
Yeah, I think I think one thing that I saw, it was funny. It was like a video that I think it was a Will Smith. It was a Will Smith like little video, and it was interesting. It struck me the other day, and I think I spent a lot of my life putting my career and everything before everyone else in my life, and I think I regret a lot of it because I lost a lot of friends. I hurt a lot of people. I hurt myself a lot, and I think I saw in this video he's talking about how the reverse, and he's like, your life should be your family and the people you love should be first and foremost, and everything else should be built to support that. And that's something that it took me 38 years to figure out. And I think when you're an up and coming artist or where you're starting a business, you think that putting all your energy into this is the best solution, but you never know what's going to happen. People randomly pass away, like this thing, and so don't ever take that time for granted with people you love, and don't ever not tell those people and let them know how much you love them.
Absolutely.
Because I think that would be the only regret that I've seen people really have in life, is that they didn't get to do that, or they didn't say it enough or love love unapologetically, I think always say, and like it's life is actually pretty short, to be honest, as long as it seems when you're a teenager, but like it goes by quick, and a lot of things can happen. So like don't waste time, don't take it for granted, but enjoy it, and try to be as present in the moment as you can.
I really like that. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it. Your words and knowledge really, I think, goes a long way for everyone. So
I hope so.
My name is Linz. This is Support the Scene. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks for watching. This is Support the Scene. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, follow, and share.